This video is a lecture about conditional probability, which is from section 11.6 in the textbook. Everything you really need to know is in this top box for this section, and after that we're going to just be doing examples to explain what we're dealing with. Remember from the last section when we talk about dependent events is without replacement because the first one affects the second when we keep it out. Independent events would be with replacement because when we put it back in, it does not affect the second pick. Probability, definition, just a reminder, it's always success over total. So just kind of associating it with those. Since we're saying that given, remember this means probably that A happens, given B happens. Given B happens. Order matters. Remember we want the number. So basically what this is saying, we are now saying B had to happen. So that's our cardinality of B. That is what has to occur. Then we're asking for successes, meaning that both of them have to occur for it to be a success. B has to happen, and we want A to happen, so that's the numerator. So again, I'm going to show you a picture here just to kind of associate with these ideas. But remember, again, really important on the order. This one says event 1 happens. So if I'm saying event 1 happens, I am now only looking at this circle. I'm no longer looking at the whole box. I am saying event 1 has to happen. So that's now giving me my total. My total will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because event 1 has to happen. I don't care what else is there. Now out of that piece that I highlighted, how many of those are also in event 2? We should see also in event 2 would be 2. Remember, this would be cardinality of the intersection, which is the part that I circled, over the cardinality of what we said had to happen, which was our given piece. So we can look at this one visually, but it will always follow that same piece. Please always start with the denominator first when you're doing probability. So on my second one here, I'm saying event 2 has to happen. That's my given piece. So now I'm going to highlight E2 circle, and that has to happen. So that means I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 options because that's guaranteed. That's my total. And out of that, how many of them are also event 1, which is 2. So notice for this formula, the formula will matter with what is your given. The numerator is saying the intersection of both. But the denominator is what is your given. So you've got to be careful on that piece. So we're going to now use a chart to answer the next questions. Find the probability if you select one person. Number 1 says favors daycare. So remember again, success over total. In this case, there's no conditions on it. So we look at our total number in this survey, which is here, 1,000, and how many of those favor daycare, and we should see that that is favor daycare 900, which simplifies down to 9 over 10. Please pause this and see if you can go through each piece. But what I'm trying to do as well is kind of tell you other ways it can be worded. It can be given to you with the bar, which means given, or it can be the word, or it can be if. So remember, the key piece is that has to be in the denominator. That's what we're saying now has to happen. They have to be a student. So if I look at the student column, That's going to be 880. That's my total possibilities. out of that column only, because that's the column, or sorry, not column, that's the row we're looking at, how many of those also favor? So out of those, how many of them favor it, which is the 800. So that simplifies. Again, I just canceled the tens first since I'm not using a calculator, and both of those are divisible by 10, or sorry, divisible by 8, which gives me 10 over 11. You can definitely do that in your calculator. But remember what this means. So going back to our formula here, what we want is the cardinality of the intersection, which is favor and a student, over the cardinality of our given, which is the student. Some of you can look at this and reason it out, but when you have a given, that is your total in your probability formula. So looking at number 3, this is my given piece. So now I am only looking at faculty. So my total possibilities for that is 120. Out of those 120, how many of them also oppose daycare, which is the 20? So that should give us 1 over 6. Formula, if you need to write the formula down, remember the numerator is the cardinality of the intersection of oppose and faculty over the cardinality of the given, which is faculty. I always want you to start with the given. Going to number 4, here's my opposed is my given. So I'm now looking at the opposed, which is here. That is going to now look at my total for opposed, which is my denominator, which is 100. And out of those, how many of them were faculty, which is the 20, which gives you 1/5. So you'll notice 3 and 4, the intersection was the same, but it mattered what the denominator was. That's what we're saying has to happen. So number 5, a single card is selected from a deck of cards. Remember, you need to know your deck of cards. Find the probability of selecting an 8, given that it is a red card. So again, I like to write it out in words first. We want to select an 8, given that it's a red card. If you need to write it out in words, this would be, again, you pick an 8 and it's red over the given portion, which is red. So notice we have restricted because we've said it has to be a red card. So originally, if I was just saying probably selecting an 8, we would have 52 cards. But now I'm going with it has to be red. So that means now I'm only looking at the 26 red cards. And out of those 26 red cards, how many of them also are an 8? That should give me the heart 8 and the diamond 8, which is 2. So I should get 1 over 13. Some of y'all can reason this out without writing down the formula. Some of you will need to write that formula down. But I always say start with that denominator piece first. Looking at number 6, given a family with 2 children and assuming that boys and girls are equally likely, find the probability that we have 2 boys. Notice there's no given on this one. Okay, so I'm going to write out, this is a case similar to that torpedo. First choice is a boy-girl. Nothing changes. So my sample space would be boy-boy, boy-girl, girl-boy, girl-girl. That's my sample space. Since I didn't put any restrictions on this, I have 4 total possibilities. And how many of them are both boys? I should have 1. B says probability that I get 2 boys if you know that at least 1 child is a boy. So if I know at least 1, that's my given. This is my given. So at least 1 is a boy. That works, and that works. The only one that doesn't work is the girl. So I now only have 3 options because one of them has to be a boy. And out of those, 2 being a boy is still this top one, which is 1/3. Key here, originally we had 4 choices, but we got rid of one of the choices by our given portion. On number C, letter C here, 2 boys given the older child is a girl. So let's be careful. The older child, which is the first one, means I am only looking at this bottom piece, because the older child, the first child, has to be a girl. So in this case, I now have 2 choices, because if the older one has to be a girl. And out of those 2 choices, how many of them are 2 boys? Should be 0. So my answer there should be 0 probability. Start with the denominator first. This is saying, again, cardinality, older is a girl. We've restricted it down to that. This is a probability that I have 2 boys and oldest is a girl. Pause and again read and try to answer the questions. Going to number 7. Assume that one circle is selected at random and each circle is equally likely. Determine the probability of selecting a 5 given the circle is yellow. So this is my given piece. So if I look at these, I have 2 yellow circles. That means that has to happen. Out of those 2 yellow circles, can I get a 5? My answer should be no, because the orange is the 5. So saying that out in words, it would have been the cardinality of 5 and a yellow divided by cardinality of a yellow. Going to B, a number less than 2. So I want the probability of a number less than 2 given the number is less than 5. So now I'm saying the given portion here, it's got to be a number less than 5. Forgot my symbol there. So less than 5, be careful. I'm not including 5. I am now looking at these first 4 choices. So my denominator is 4, and out of those, how many numbers are less than 2? The only one is the number 1. The given restricts my choices that I'm looking at. I'm no longer looking at the whole sample space. I've created a new sample space by doing a given or a conditional piece. Number 8, we are assuming again that one number from 1 to 7 is equally likely. Determine this piece. Please pause it, try to do A and B like we just did number 7, and see if you get the right answer. We want a probability as a triangle given that the number is greater than or equal to 5. The number is greater than or equal to 5. So my condition here is the number is greater than or equal to 5. Looking at 5, 6, and 7 because I'm including the 5. So out of those 3, which is now my new total, how many of them are a triangle? The only one that's a triangle is the 6, so my answer there should be 1/3. You can write it out using the formula, or you can reason it out. Going to B, probability that we get a red or blue given that an even number is selected. For this one, we want an even number. So an even number would be here, here, or here. So my denominator is a 3 because that's the only ones I'm looking at. I'm no longer looking at any of the odd ones. Now out of those 3 that I've put a mark underneath, how many of those are red or blue? 2 is red, 4 is red, 6 is blue. So I have 3 over 3, which is 1. Remember, you can get 1 or 0. Those are the extremes that you can get.